starting. Belma entered the waiting. Let me see if I can see her. I usually like to let people in who have already. mm, Let's see. Hi, Belma. Would you please turn on your start the video so we can get to know you? Hello.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening. How are you, Belma? Is it your first time, my dear?
Yes, this is my first time. I'm doing fine.
Good, good. Uh, can you tell us about your experience with Rumi, please?
This is my first time attending this. I heard about Rumi from a friend of mine.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what his poems and his teachings are about.
And which area you're coming from, my dear? Where are you?
Well, I'm currently in Canada.
Oh, in Canada. Okay. Thank you so much. How do you spell your Belema?
It's Belema.
Belema. Okay. Thank you. I want to make sure I am pronouncing your name properly, ma'am. Okay. So since Otsia, we did this poem. چه چگونه بود عدم را چه نشان دهی قدم را نگر اولین قدم را که تو بس نکو نهادی. We read this and we translated it and we couldn't get it right. So I promised Qudsiya to look for to do the whole translate to the best of my ability the whole poem, and it's a short poem. So let's read it together. I read the Farsi and then we do the translation, and everybody can please jump in if you have something to say. Uh, you know, we want to make it like a dialogue conversation. All right. This is poem number 2482, very short poem from Divan Shams, which you know there is Divan Shams, as you guys know, Belema. This is love poems of Rumi for the divine, mostly. This is one of them, you see. بت من ز در آمد بت من ز در آمد به مبارکی و شادی به مراد دل رسیدم به جهان بی مرادی. My beloved arrived. Both is in English, it's means statue. You know, they used to worship statues, and Rumi uses that, but in a different way. It says, "My beloved arrived with joy and congratulations. In this world of unfulfilled goals and desires, I achieved my goal and my heart's desire." So we learn two things from this verse, that until the beloved doesn't come, because that's when we know when the beloved comes, we are going to be joyful and happy and uh, blessed. And so without him, without his presence, we'll be we'll be sad and unhappy and unfulfilled. So as soon as he shows up, God, the divine shows up, we'll be happy. and joyful, otherwise will be miserable. That's what Rimi says, right? Then it's the second fourth part of the verse. It says, "In this world of unfulfilled goals and desires, I achieved my goal and my heart's desire." So Rumi here tells us that anything but the arrival of the beloved would not be fulfilled. Anything, whatever wish and desires and goals we have would not be unfulfilled, because the divine created us for one purpose and one purpose only: to meet the beloved, to have him arrive in our life, to see his beautiful face. Or have you, I'm saying he because, you know, there is no gender for God, just for the sake of conversation, or she. So we won't have, nothing would be accomplished in this world, and all the accomplishment would be destroyed, would bring no happiness and no joy, because we are away from the primary achievement that we came to this world to do, which is to meet the beloved, to have him arrive in our life, right? So that's the first one. Let's see. Did you get this one? Got it? Okay. Anybody has any comments, suggestions, anything you want to add to this? Okay, so shall we go to second one? Okay. Second verse, I mean. تو بپرس چون در آمد که برون نرفت هرگز، که در آمد و برون شد صفتی بود جمادی. Since you operate from your mind, you will ask me, how did my darling arrive? Because the divine never left me. Because arriving and leaving are the attributes of inanimate entity. Because because on the first verse he says he arrived. Then he says how he arrived. He was already here, right? He was already here with me, so he didn't arrive. How can I say he arrived? Because he never left. He never left me for him to arrive. Because arriving and leaving are the attributes of inanimate entities. The Almighty, the Divine, which is alive, doesn't have this attribute, living and coming. He's been here forever. He's been with us forever. Your Parastu is saying because all wanting and desires come from ego. Absolutely. Okay? So here you show what Rumi says. Don't ask, since you operate from your mind, because we are operating from ego, which is mind, and we think, okay, somebody came, somebody left, this and that. This is for us, which are thinking in terms of mind and ego, and we are limited by time and space. But the Almighty, the Divine, doesn't have that. He doesn't come and go. He doesn't arrive and leave. He's always here. This is what we need to do, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we are here to do. This is what we need to do. This is what Rumi asked us to do. Come to the world which is there is no arriving or leaving. The divine has been here forever. The trouble is us. We do not. We have turned our back to the divine. And as soon as we turn our face toward him, Then we see him, then we think he arrived. No, he was already here. He's been here forever. He will be here forever. We were the one who were absent. He is always present. Okay, Beta, this gentleman wants to come in. I should be admit him.
Um, is he suspicious?
I think so, but I don't see his name. And then it's a bit late,
Yeah, I think when it's too late, we don't need
We
to
don't
let.
need to. Okay, thank you so much. This lady is such a wonderful person. God bless you, Beta. You're just, uh, you're priceless. That's what you are. All right. Then, then Rumi continues. غلطم مگو که چون شد ز چگونگی برون شد تو چگونه ای ولیکن تو ز بیچگونه زادی. This is a little bit, by the way, tricky. پس خانم, did I pronounce it, did I read it properly? How do you read it? Do you read it for us, please, in Persian?
Excuse me, just
Just do it in Persian.
tonight I cannot, excuse me, I cannot speak well because I have a sore throat.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm
so sorry.
excuse me.
No problem. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry. I
Just
didn't know that.
no problem. Just I'm chatting, but I cannot speak properly.
No problem.
Sorry.
No problem. That's okay. I just wanted to see, because you can read it differently, but let's just read what I read. غلطم مگو که چون شد غلطم مگو که چون شد ز چگونگی برون شد تو چگونه ای ولیکن تو ز بی چگونه زادی. Okay, I was wrong. Then Rumi tells himself, I was wrong. Don't ask, how did the sweetheart leave me? Because my beloved is outside of conditions and arrival and departure. So he says coming and going, because here it says it come, it arrived and left. Then he said, don't tell me, oh, I'm wrong. Don't tell me how he left. You may ask yourself, how is my condition? But truly, you were born from an entity that is outside of conditions. Basically, he was trying, I think Rumi, I don't know if you guys have the same understanding. If otherwise, please let me know. It seems to me that Rumi is telling us that this arrival and leaving, these attributes that we understand with our mind, it is doesn't apply to Almighty, doesn't apply to the divine. It's outside. It doesn't apply to it. It's something different. Okay. Oh, this is the one that Qudsiya we read, right? This is the one we read. چه چگونه بود عدم را چه نشان دهی قدم را نگر اولین قدم را که تو بس نکو نهادی. How can you assign attributes to not like a thing? So I call him here. It's like nothing, but this is the translation of Adam, which is nothing, not like a thing. How do you define an entity that has existed forever and cannot be defined? How you want to assign attributes to nothingness? How do you define an entity that has existed before forever and cannot be defined? Look at your first step. That was a great start. Now, what is the first step? This verse refers to the Quranic teachings that indicate that in the beginning, as soon as God created us, the divine asked us, who is your Lord? And we replied and answered, you. This principle is called alast. In Arabic, its Arabic word is alast, but in Farsi we use the same word, alast. Means the fact the notion that when we were created, God told us, are you this from the same essence that I am? We said yes. Now we are saying no, right? Now we're saying no because we, if we are really loyal to that yes that we said at the beginning, we should not become anything else but him. We should not accept anybody else, anything else in our heart and core but him, right? Because we told him at the beginning when he created us, and we have forgotten. Sufi says we have forgotten it. When we were created at the beginning, God asked us, aren't you from the same essence that I am? And we all said, yes, we are. But now we have forgotten it, and we have turned our back, and we instead of putting the divine into our core, we are putting things, stuff, desires, this and that. Okay? Does it make sense to you, Ozzy? Ozzy, I'm sorry. Does it make sense to you, man? All right. Anybody wants to add anything here? This is basically the the major one, the major that Mr. Shahbazi uses a lot in his teaching. So this is the one that we are trying to understand. همه بی خودی پسندم، همه تن چو گل بخندم، به طرب میان ببندم که چنین دری گشادی. Then I chose selflessness. Consequently, I'm smiling like a flower. I'll be joyous and happy forever because you opened the door to becoming united with you. Okay, so Rumi tells us in order to let him arrive in our life, we have to become selfless. Meaning, we have to remove the ego. We have to minimize our egos. So there is room for, there is nobody in our core as much as possible but the divine. As soon as that happens, we will be all smiling like flowers, God willing. And we'll be all joyous and happy forever because we opened our the heart of our the door of our the door of our heart. Did I say it right? Our heart's door, and let it and allowed to become united with him. So that is this beautiful poem from Rumi. Any suggestion, questions, comments, please? All right. So this we have a little bit of few verses to finish this program. Uh, make it bigger, huh? Yeah. Because we got up to here, and this is not few on left, so we can finish this program, poem number 50. We did up to here at 11, 29, 24, which was the last time. These are poems from Masnavi. This is the book of teachings of Rumi, Belema. The other poem we did was from Divan Shams. This is Masnavi, which is poems of his Rumi teaching. ساعتی با آن گروه مجتبی چون مراقب گشتم و از خود جدا هم در آن ساعت ز ساعت رست جان زانک ساعت پیر گرداند جوان. These are two verses related. That's why I read one after the other. This is from a poem in Rumi from the story of Daghouqi. Probably Yahya knows. Yahya, do you know about Daghouqi? Huh? It is in book 3, and this is verses 272, which is almost at the end of one of the sections of the Daghouqi story. And Rumi talks about yeah. I'm not going to get into it because I might say something wrong. So anyway, you guys can go look at it. you know, the Nicholson's uh, the Nicholson's translation is on internet, masnavi.net. If you can go, you can read the whole story. It's beautiful. But we are, this is a portion of that, and it is beautiful. When for a while I had taken part with that elect company in contemplation of God and had been separated from myself. At that very moment, my spirit was freed from time. I say freed because time makes the young old. So be careful here. The time is the one makes us old. Our spirit soul is timeless, never gets old, always young, because there is not bound by time, right? We are bound by time because the mind, the ego, in order to understand something, makes the frame of time. Time for the ego mind, egoic mind, is a reference, is a line to understand. There is not really a time, because in reality, in truth, this every moment is now. There's no future, there is no past. This is the making of our mind to understand. Because I say I did this before that, I did this after that, right? So I make a timeline. Imagine a straight line. We make a timeline and we say we started from here to here. So this is illusion. This is not real. He says here because he was out of the illusion. I was out of the illusion. I was out of time. And as soon as my spirit was freed from time, my ego was diminished. I was out of time and space, basically. That's what he's saying. جمله تلوین ها ز ساعت خواسته است، رست از تلوین که از ساعت برست. Now he's explaining time, Rumi. All changes have arisen from the time. He that is from the time is freed from change. Why we are so scared of death? Because we think we are this body. Because we see the body and we see the body of others, we don't see the spirit in ourselves or others. We think that we are the body. And all changes have arisen from the time. So when the mind, egoic mind, created time, then change happened in it. He that is freed from the time is freed from change. Look, Rumi, listen to this. Rumi, without knowing physics and so many different sciences, which now we understand the time is a dimension, right? Einstein came with this idea of time, that we have two dimensions, x and y, then we have another one is t. This is the third dimension. Since he's been freed from time, he sees it. That change comes from time. If there was no time, there was no change. So this is Lucy. So see what a profound statement he makes here, and not knowing any new sciences, any modern science, physics specifically, look how he found out this thing, because he freed himself from time, and we can do it too. Right? He's like us. He's not. He's a human like all of us. As soon as I expanded my heart and observed my mind, my spirit was freed from illusory time. Therefore, from these verses that we learn that as long as we have egos, we are bound by illusory time. Illusory time. This illusory time, which is the result of the imprisonment of the ego, makes our forever young makes our forever young soul old. All changes have arisen from the illusory time and attachment. Good. It makes. I hope it makes sense to you guys. چون ز ساعتی بیرون شوی، چون ز ساعتی بیرون شوی، چون نماند محرم بیچون شوی. چون ز ساعتی بیرون شوی، چون نماند محرم بیچون شوی. When for an hour you escape from the time and you escape the illusory time, then you become familiar with that which is without relation, which is God. Okay? So as soon as he says, even for a second, if you get out of this time, then you become familiar and you can understand the entity, the divine, which is outside of time. So Rumi tells us, in order to get connected to the source, we have to get out of time. And what puts us in time? The egoic mind, the mind which is made up of ego. ساعت از بی ساعتی آگاه نیست، زان کشان سو جز تحیر راه نیست. ساعت از بی ساعتی آگاه نیست، زان کش آن سو جز تحیر راه نیست. The hours are not acquainted with timelessness. Basically, being bound by time and space, or say we say time, is not acquainted with timelessness, because for him who is conscious of time, there is no way except bewilderment. So for us which are not acquainted with timelessness, which are bound by time, there's no way out of this unless we become bewildered with this thing that we just mentioned, that we have to get out of this time illusion of the egoic mind and mind. Get out of it. It's a bit complicated, to be honest with you. I'm just doing the best I can do. هر نفر را بر طویله خاص او بسته اند اندر جهان جستجو. Now he says, Rumi, he switches a little bit and talks about the different concept here. In this world of search and seeking, every set of people has been tied in the staple peculiar to them. So all of it's meaning that put everybody in a different staple. It's like, excuse my analogy, but like everybody is like an animal, like a donkey or a horse. They put him in different staples in this world. When you liberate yourself from the boundaries of illusory time, which comes with the ego and comes out of the imprisonment of the egoic mind, you realize you are a pure heart. You become familiar with the being free from worldly cause and effect, God. But if you stay in imaginary time, then you will not be aware of timelessness. God is timeless and always alive. Our true self is also the essence of timelessness. If we stay in the worldly realm of cause and effect, we cannot understand God, which is above and beyond cause and effect. When you go to the other side, then you don't interpret events based on cause and effect, but you only bewilder about how events are happening without any causality, and all is the creation of the divine. Bewilderment means to disable causality. How do you say causality? Is that John? Can you help me here? Yeah.
Causality.
Causality. Thank you. Bewilderment means to disable causality of the mind, which means we don't understand how things happen, and trying to understand the world by cause and effect is totally wrong. So instead of reasoning with your mind and saying, oh, this happened because of this, A happened because of B happened because of C happened because of D, it's cause and effect, you are just bewildered. You just sitting and saying, oh my, what happened? I cannot understand it. It's beyond me. This cause and effect I made, this is a creation of my mind, which doesn't make any sense in reality. As Quran says, kun fayakun. God says, become, and it becomes, right? So there's no cause and effect. This cause and effect thing, we made it in our mind to understand the world. See, because we are imprisoned in time and space, and we are bound by our ego. That's what it is. It's pretty profound, by the way. Then in the last verse, Rumi tells us that everyone has been tied in the staple peculiar to him. Therefore, each of us is tied to our mind, which acts like a stable and imprisons us into the smart world of our mind. Basically, we are in the staple of our mind. That's what Rumi says here. منتصب بر هر طویله رایزی جز به دستوری نیاید رافضی. And over each stable a trainer has been appointed, save by his permission no defiant comes into another place. So in each stable, he says there is a trainer, and this one, the trainer is the divine. The trainer is the divine. They put us into that stable for us to learn that we don't belong to the prison of time and space, and we cannot have anything in our core but the Almighty. And that's why when we occupy our hearts and core with other things, we get pain. So that trainer is the God, the divine himself. That's the divine himself. از هوس گر از طویله بگسلد در طویله دیگران سر در کند در زمان آخرچیان چست خش گوشه افسار او گیرند و کش. Here he says, if from vain desire he should break away from the staple and intrude into the staple of others, at once the nimble and goodly stableman seize the corner of his halter and noose and drag him back. Here the staple is a symbol of each human mind, which has a trainer. In reality, divine has assigned a trainer for each of us. When you empty your core from attachment, you become joyful, and on the contrary, if your core is full of attachments, you receive pain. Life itself is a trainer in each of us. Then Rumi indicates that nobody will save us from this stable, which is our mind, unless we follow the laws of the universe. So here, it says, Rumi says, if you get out of your stable and go and check somebody else, and from this vain desire, you go and say, hey, how is you should, like, I am in trouble, I go to make X and Y, Z and say, hey, how's your life, what you're doing, how you're dealing with your troubles, or how your life is. And I become nosy, right? Because people with ego are pretty nosy too. They go here and there, they want to get information from everybody, and so then they take him back, because that's not your job. And the divine says, you're not here to be nosy and to go around and see what's going on in somebody's stable. You got to work on yourself. You got to free yourself from your ego and egoic mind and get out of this space and time. That's what you're here. They're bringing back. So if we are getting involved, intervene, and being nosy on others, the trainer, which is the divine, will bring us back. So basically, Rumi says, don't do it. They're going to bring you back. Don't go outside. Don't go outside of your stable, because they're going to bring you back. Stay in a stable, focus on yourself, try to fix yourself. Try to attain salvation by yourself, because that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're here for. That's what he said here. Oh, the Rumi indicates that nobody will save us from this stable, which is our mind, unless we follow the laws of the universe and empty our cores from the attachments. Unless you bewilder and confess your ignorance and expand your heart, you will not be saved. Lastly, if you out of vain curiosity and desire, you break away from your stable and intrude into others' stable and affairs, goodly stable man seize the corner of his halter and noose and drag him back. Here Rumi emphasizes the fact that if we don't focus on ourselves and try to change and influence others and turn our attention to others, we will cause pain for ourselves and others. That's basically a practical lesson to us. Mind your business. Mind your business. You have a lot to do. You have a lot of things that you have to accomplish. Don't waste your time being curious about others and nosy. Just do your thing. حافظان را گر نبینی ای عیار اختیارت را ببین بی اختیار. اختیار رو ببین بی اختیار. O gentle one, if you don't see and feel your keepers, at least see your choice and perceive that it is involuntary. اختیاری میکنی و دست و پا برگشا دست است برگشا دستت چرا حبسی چرا you're making a choice and your hands and feet are loose. Why then you are imprisoned? Why? So it says that basically we are still imprisoned in a time and a space. روی در انکار حافظ برده ای نام تهدیدات نفسش کرده ای. You have chosen to deny the action of the keeper. You have called it threats of the fleshly soul. In verse 3:28:01, Rumi indicates that if you don't see is one 28:01 that if you don't see and feel your keepers who is in charge of observing you and making sure that you obey and follow the laws of the universe, at least realize that even though you believe you have freedom of choice, but in practice you are restrained and constrained. In the egoic mind, we are constrained. We do not, we are constrained by the ego and we do whatever the ego tells us. In verse 3-282, which is this one, Rumi indicates that you try to change your situation in your mind, but practically you cannot do it. And you're unable to make the changes that you desire. You're making choices, and apparently your hands and feet are free to move, but you're still in prison of your ego and that cannot change your condition. You have chosen to deny روی در انکار حافظ برده ای نام تهدیدات نفسش کرده ای. You have chosen to deny the action of the keeper. You have called it threats of the fleshly soul. You're denying that the divine has assigned somebody to watch over you and enforce the laws of the universe, and you have called it the threats of ego. Okay, we did this one too. Therefore, the hours are not acquainted with timelessness, because for him who is conscious of time, there is no way except bewilderment. We discussed it, right? Therefore, we are not aware of how much our egoic mind destroys and damages us. We need to expand our hearts and realize that there is a keeper inside all of us who wants to train us and improve our conditions. Basically, the trainer is the divine who wants us to diminish our ego, minimize it, and get out of the time and space. Let's say time here now. He doesn't. Rumi talks about time here. Let's talk about time. We get out of this time, which is bound by ego, which is the work of ego. Any question, comments, concern, please? Okay, we have a few minutes. I have some nice, which I have some exhibits, which which I copied from Mr. Shahbazi. I want to share with you. It's beautiful. You know, sometimes they say a picture is worth thousands words. This is really the case here. You'll see. I hope you enjoy them. Let me show it to you. Okay. First, triangle of original circle of nothingness. This is when we come to this world at the beginning, before we make the ego. You know, when the child is born, the ego is like created right there. Because we show in another one how ego is created. When we come to this world, there is nothing in our core. It's free of everything. Basically, then that means God is there, right? The divine is there. So we get our sense of security, guidance, power, and intellect and intelligence from this nothingness, which is God. Nothingness means nothing but Him. La ilaha illallah, we say in Arabic, right? There's nothing, there's no God but God. There's no God but Allah, which is the real thing. Okay? This is the first one I want to share with you. Now, as soon as we come to this world and we get socialized, in sociology they call it socialization. Probably, yeah, you knows better than me. Socialization. We put stuff in our ego, in our core. I'm sorry, and ego is created. This is the stuff that goes into our core. Everything that I can think of, myself, my spouse, the rest of my family, money. That's why it's capitalized, because it's very important. A lot of people put money in their core. Everything that I value, professions, social status, roles, hobbies, roles, hobbies, entertainment, friends, enemy, religious belief, not religious faith, religious belief. Religious belief is a troublemaker, political and social beliefs. We put this into our core, so we get sense of security, guidance, power, and intelligence and intellect from these. What is supposed to be here should be nothing, right? Like this, like before. Now we start working on ourselves with the help of Rumi and other Sufis and other spiritual masters. Then we push these things out. They exist, but they're not in our core. They are not our focus. They are not our preferences. They're not our number one in life. They do whatever they're supposed to do. They're out. You see, everything went out now. You see that? We push it out. Yes, money is important, but it's not doesn't belong to my core. It's out there, does its job. My profession, my social status, these are all out there. My friends, it's out. It's not into my core. It's not in my core, in my center. Now this is what I have written. I'm so sorry. It's not very nice. I know that because it's handwritten, but I hope I can make this better. All right. Here we go. Okay. How did egoic mind come into being? I shared with you, some of you guys, this one. God spirit plus human body made up of soil and stinking mud makes a human being. This is God. God says in Quran that I blew my spirit into stinking mud, into soil. Human being was made, okay? Now from human being, two things were created. Soul took after God's spirit, and egoic mind, which is I, my name, my behavior, my belonging, my identity, which we discussed it in that core. Egoic mind took after soil and stinking mind. I'm sorry, soil. Egoic mind took after soil and stinking mind. That's what came here. That's the egoic mind. That's the ego. Nafs, we say in Farsi and Arabic. Nafs ammare. The ego which directs us to bad things, to bad deeds. From here, from egoic mind, we have two things coming out: lust and anger. Lust is for everything that we like, pursuing likes, and anger is rejecting dislikes. So that is what happens here. This is how the egoic mind came into being, and the work and Sufi is telling us you have to make it in moderation, very moderate, This is called the attachment to temporary things, which makes us bound by time. All right. When we have attachment in our core, we get our sense of security, guidance, power, intellect, and intelligence from these attachments, right? And then what we're going to get? We're going to get material intelligence and past and future. We create past and future because these things will create ego for us. And then we get judgment. We judge everything. The stuff that we like, we judge them good. Stuff we don't like, we judge them bad. And we resist. We get resistant. We resist the events that is not to our liking. That is this triangle. Then we have detachment from temporary things. So after we're here, when we have attachment, we're here. Then if we remove the attachments to outside, that's what we get. We get nothing here, nothingness. Sense of security, guidance, power, intellect, and intelligence comes from nothingness. We get spiritual intelligence. Here we had material, we had spiritual. Here we had past and future. We have eternal present. We are only in present, only in present, only in present. This is detachment from temporary things. Here we had judgment. Here we get gratitude and abstinence. Abstinence is important. We have to move away from stuff, from bringing stuff to our core. And on this one, we get resistant. Here we get patience and abstinence. Okay. Now, this is the myth of egoic mind. Now, the myth of egoic mind, the myth of egoic mind is this one in the middle. Then this is a rectangular. Then we had stuff here. So we did this one, right? We had past and future. This is the attachment to temporary things. Now, what happens when we are in this situation? We're creating problems and looking for them. The ego is a myth because it really doesn't exist. It's an illusion. But as soon as it becomes into being, which are with our troubled, with our attachment, we create problems and looking for them. On this side, we create enemies and looking for them. We create obstacles and looking for them. Basically, the ego, if there is no enemy, it creates one. If there is no obstacle, it creates one. Look for them, and create problems. Okay? Now, this is the truth of being human. This is where we want to go, God willing. So the middle is the same as this guy, right? Now we have the rectangular around it. We have joy without a cause. We are in eternal present. We have enthusiasm for creation, ability to create. We have spiritual intelligence. We have gratitude. Oh, I'm sorry. Then we have acceptance event of this moment. So this is detachment and return to this moment. That's what it is. Okay. I have two small triangles for you guys. Okay, this is expansion of heart. And it refers to this poem from Rumi, book number 1, verse 2670. God's law has rolled the carpet of mercy and grace out for us. Speak out in an open-hearted way. Very, very important verse. It is in Quran too. Rabba shrehli sadri. God, please expand my heart. This is from the tongue of Moses. What is this? When we have nothing, we get in our core sense of security, guidance, power, and yes, ma'am. Pastor Khan, you say something?
Yes, my
Yes, ma'am.
niece is waiting. Can you please accept her request?
Oh, absolutely. Tell him come. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Because
no,
I'm
no
scared to
problem.
accept it, but ask him to come again. I would accept. I'm so
I
sorry.
was yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Ask her to come back again. I'm sorry. So when we expand your heart, you say you don't know. You realize you don't know. You're in the position. You're in the bewilderment, right? You remember that we talked about bewilderment. That's where you're gonna go. That's where, and destiny and become it, and it becomes. You are, but you all understand the destiny that God has created for all of us, and you understand that we are not following the cause and effect. The God is, when it God says become, it becomes. Now, this is the fantasy of perfection. This is a beautiful verse from Rumi, book 1, verse 32:14. There is no worse disease in you, in your soul, O arrogant one, than the fantasy of perfection. That's the problem everybody almost has. When you have attachment, these are attachments which we discussed. Sense of security, guidance, power, intellect, and intelligence comes from uh yes, yes, my dear what's here? What do you need?
Hi, Mr.
Yeah.
Akbar.
Yes.
So I've been doing a lot of heavy therapeutic work,
Uh-huh.
and for that I have to do a lot of homework.
Uh-huh.
And the one thing that I am figuring out,
Uh-huh.
I think that in order for you to really, in order for someone like me to really experience contentment, detachment needs to exist. I need to not worry about the outcome.
Mhm.
Is that what this means? Like your triangle for the detachment is that what that means?
Which one? Tell me. This one? No, not this one. Let's go exactly to the one that you're talking about, my dear.
Yeah, the
Go ahead.
one where nothingness is in the middle. Yeah, this one exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, the truth of being human. Correct? That's what you talk about, right, ma'am? Let me make it smaller so you can see the whole thing. This is what you talk about, right, ma'am? Garcia, are you there?
Yes, yes, I'm here. Yes, this is the one. Yes.
This is the one. Okay, what are you saying? Please repeat your question.
So in a lot of therapeutic work that I'm doing,
Mm,
I'm finding out that in order for someone like me to really experience contentment, I
mm,
need to be detached.
mm,
I need to not worry about the outcome.
mm.
It's the attachments that make people like me have unrealistic expectations, and then we're always running into disappointments.
Yep, absolutely. Because
So
you,
is that what this is?
yeah, because when you have an expectation, that's attachment, right? You're expecting that thing, so you're attached to your expectation, right? Makes sense to you, ma'am?
Yes,
If
this is exactly what
yeah,
acceptance. Acceptance.
mhm,
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
This is really good, Mr.
okay,
Akbar. This is
Alhamdulillah,
like very good work. This is
Alhamdulillah,
amazing.
Alhamdulillah. Good for you. I'm happy that you like it. Yeah, the credit goes to Mr. Shahbazi. I'm just translating. He come up with this beautiful concept. So, but I'm using it with his permission, by the way. Okay, so good for you. So can we go back to where we were?
Can you let the niece of Paris do in?
Yeah, I don't see her coming in.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Paras Tukhanum, did you ask her to come in again?
Okay. Yeah, she's waiting. I
But I
asked
don't
her
I don't
again
see
too.
because it was here, then now it doesn't show. I don't know how to get her
Okay.
in.
Okay, I asked her
Because
again
she was
too.
on the iPhone, she said I thought it's too late. I didn't know. If she
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I didn't know that it's your
Oh,
niece.
no.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm
she's
always
my niece.
concerned about who gets in. That's the
Okay,
problem.
I asked her again. Okay,
Yeah, ask
thank
her
you.
again, please. I let her in.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we did this one. We were in right triangles. I know I'm going fast because I don't want to keep you guys too long. I'm sorry. Fancy pyramid. This is important, guys. Please. Okay, now here. Fancy protection. When you have this, you have pain and fake reputation. You have pain. If you have fantasy of perfection, that meaning each ego thinks it's perfect. Each ego thinks it's perfect, right? So when that happens, you got pain because you're obviously not perfect. None of us are. And then if you have a fake reputation, you think everybody thinks you're the best of the best, you're perfect, and then you're scared that people really find out that you're not perfect. So you're protecting that fake reputation all the time. You're protecting it. That puts you in a painful position too, right? Yeah, yeah. Is it make sense to you, brother? I know it's a lot of material, but think about it. Okay, here you go. Admit. Here you go. She's in. Parasu Khanum, I admitted that. All right, that's this one, and then there's another triangle, and this is over. Okay, this is another triangle. Two triangles we are here, I guess. Yeah, two. This is a triangle of change. Now, this is for all of us, guys. If you want to change, you have to have nothing in your core. Sense of security, guidance, power, intellect, intelligence come from nothing at your core. What we need to do, we have to be committed. We have to have consistency, and we have to repeat. Don't tell me, oh, I already heard this. No. You have to hear it so many times until it changes us. That's why zikr is repetition. Right, Rahya? Repetition. Why Muslims do 5 times salat? You think Auzubillah, God is crazy or something? No, because it has to be repetition. Repetition is the key here. Very important. Triangle change. Triangle of adoration. Yeah, when you are here, when nothing in you adore God, and you receive grace and attraction from the Almighty. Oh my God, I kept you guys too long. Sorry for that, but let's pray that all of us get to this triangle of adoration. We adore the Almighty, the Divine, and we receive grace and attraction. We are attracted to God's power. Thank you so much. I talked too much. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Any comments, suggestion, anything you want to share with us?
This is really good, Mr. Akbar. Like,
Alhamdulillah.
everything that I'm learning about like self-development, you have it in a triangle. Like, this itself can be a great lesson. Like, this is amazing. I'm blown away. I literally had to watch like 500 hours worth of videos, and you literally explained it in like 10 minutes. It's unbelievably good. I'm so glad that I saw this.
Yeah, I didn't do it. God did it through me for you, my dear God. It's not me. I know I'm an instrument. I'm an instrument of God. And you know that I took it from Mr. Shahbazi. He did it in Persian. I translated it. But if it works for you, that's what God wants you. You know, when you come to Rumi, Qudsiya, God is going to help you, my sister. You're going to get the blessing, the grace. Because you're here, you're doing the right thing. You're doing what you're supposed to do. And God will reward you. God wants you back. So, hey, go back for something back, and every time, inshallah, God willing, every time you come, you get something good out of it. But I'm happy that you got that.
Um,
Yes, sir.
Riaz?
Yes. Qudsiya Riyaz is
Yes,
last.
yes.
Qudsiya?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Take a look at the book, the link in the chat window. Might find that very helpful.
Did you put it in a chat?
Yeah.
Okay, God bless you. Thank
It's
you.
Rumi and self-psychology.
There you go.
The transformation according to Rumi and Carl Jung. It's very good. So you might find that useful.
We have a scholar in residence. Yeah, mashallah, he's a treasure of knowledge and knowledge. Inshallah.
Anyway.
Thank you, sir, for sharing that with us.
Sure.
Thank you. Anybody has any other comment, suggestions, anything? Parasu Khanum, your friend is here. She wants to talk to us. Your niece. All right, it's okay. All right. So if you guys
Maria.
go ahead.
Sorry, I cannot speak well. I said that I have a sore throat. Mario, do you want to speak? If you want, you can introduce yourself and share your experience with Rumi.
Sure.
Maria, do you want to speak?
It's okay. It's okay. No pressure. Inshallah, next.
Mr. Akbar, Mr.
Yes.
Akbar, I have a request. Can you
Yes.
stay? I want to talk to you
Yes.
after
Yes.
the meeting. Thank
Yes, I
you.
will. I will. Yes. All right. So, if everybody is okay, inshallah, thank God that thank you so much for coming. Let's thank Lord that we are all together here, and let's end with this prayer that uh, may God help us to stay in this path and get to the destiny. There is no destiny really. Let's face it, because God is infinite, and you cannot reach infinity. The definition of infinity, you can never reach it, right? Yeah, yeah. Whatever number is you say it's infinity, I can put a one on top of it. I can increase it by one. Then you're not there yet. So we're not going to get there. But the journey is the destiny. The journey is the beauty. As long as we are in this path, as long as we are repeating, as long as we are doing the work, as long as we are staying on the path, we are okay. We are good. God
Yeah,
willing.
I mean, like the prayer of the prophet, Ya Rabbi Zidni Ilma.
No, yes.
Oh, increase me in my knowing.
Yes.
So
Masha.
since there's no end to knowing, you just keep praying that forever.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Beautiful. Yes, inshallah, God willing, we all grow in this. We just get closer to the source and get more connected, better connection, more connection, and we are all saved, and we are you get to the salvation. That's what every human being is looking for, basically. All right. So, with your permission, we're gonna close the. Let me, if I can find the recording. Yeah.